Well, good afternoon, viewers. Look at what we have here. 2017, I believe it's a 17, GarageBand's Companion, 2500 HD, 6.6 Dirty Max. It's here because the money light is on. And service exhaust fluid system message, and the DPF warning light is on. See owner's manual. 102 kilometers until 104 kilometers an hour reduced. So I put a DEF pump and a module wiring harness in this thing at the DEF tank already once, but I suspect we got a sensor. So let's connect the scan tool up to it, load the vehicle history, and scan it for codes. I apologize for my furnace running, but it's that time of year. So it is a 2017. $242,800 kilometers on it. Let's do a code scan of all controllers. I'm doing this with it running, and that's okay. At least that way I don't have to put a battery maintainer on it yet. Reductant low pressure. NOx catalyst efficiency below threshold. Fuel pump flow performance. Interesting. So these two are related to the catalyst reductant system. But this one here, I don't know what's going on with that. Right front tire pressure sensor. That's the ECM. Well, are we done scanning yet? Not quite. 15 controllers. P20E8, P20EE, P2635. Reductant pressure too low. Well, let's do some case history searches on it, see if there's any TSPs on it. So here's a case on Identifix for the P02 Edward 8 code, reductant pressure low. It says to command, key on, engine off, command the reductant pump, monitor the pressure. Okay, well, let's see if we can do that with the scan tool. I imagine it's in the engine control system. Functional tests. Diesel particulate filter tests. DPF regeneration enable. DPF service regeneration. DPF sensors reset. DPF catalyst 2 reset. But no commanding of the pump. Let's see what troublemaker chart suggests for this. Maybe there's a separate module. I know there's a separate controller for this, but it may be LIN bus to the PCM. I think the NOx efficiency code is because the catalyst isn't being cleaned. Conditions for running, circuit description. Pressure sensor information used by reductant control module. This module manages the reductant pressure system during pulse width modulated signal to the pump corresponding to the speed set point of the reductant pressure pump in order to build pressure to the reductant pressure pipeline after system startup. So it could be caused by frozen system, I suppose. It was cold. Since it's near freezing now, so it's probably fine. less than a calibrated threshold for 5 seconds. Command the reductant system on with the scan tool. Doesn't say what module to do that in. So I'm going to look around. So I've got a clean battery charger on it with the key on and the engine off. Got the voltage set at 13.6. Actually reports 13.6. So I'm doing a network code clear. But I haven't been able to find out. I would assume it's in the engine ECM that we do that reductant pump control. But it wouldn't be like Snap-on not to have the capability to do it. Yet I got a notice this morning that I got Alfa Romeo coverage now. Wow, that's really important. I think I've actually seen one in Thunder Bay. Okay, 15 controllers. Okay. Let's look through the list. Don't suppose it'd be in the glow plug controller. Chassis control module, auxiliary, power steering, suspension control. Well, let's look in the glow plug control module just for shits and giggles. Functional test. No. Don't make me bring out another scan tool to Snap-on. It doesn't appear to be here. Engine. Let's see if we can see the status of the pressure. Exhaust after treatment data. I would expect that to be it. It shows a DPF pressure differential. Rocket reductant. How come it says the tank's empty? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. So I've just talked to the customer. He's going to bring me some fluid. Could be that simple that it's low on reductant fluid. But I'm looking through the list of data regarding this and I can't find reductant pressure PID. Assuming that it's an input to the ECM. Damn, I hate this. Well, I'm going to investigate the other two codes. I think the catalyst efficiency code is related to lack of regen. So I'm just doing some research while I'm waiting for the customer to bring me the fluid. The P20 Edward code has a TSB and there seems to be a recall or a policy adjustment. I'm not sure if it's had this done. Complete the current SI diagnosis for trouble code or symptom found. If SI diagnosis has resolved the concern, or if the results are inconclusive, please refer to campaign number 17337. Enhancements for DTC P20E8 diagnostics are included in the ECM software updates. So let's see what campaign 17337 suggests. I'll look for that campaign. So there was another data list and it shows the reductant tank empty again. And it shows the reductant, the desired pump speed and actual pump speed and duty cycle command and pressure. But I can't find a means of controlling it. So I'm going to try firing up the Think tool. So let's try this. Think Tool Pro Plus. 2017 Sierra. Diagnosis. Now I've already cleared the codes. We did a network code clear. just go straight into the ECM. Special functions. Injector flow, learn functions, reset functions. Actuation tests. Definitely more actuation tests unless I missed them. Reductant system. Reductant pump. Seriously, Snap-on? Can only be activated for 20 seconds after that to control. Okay, I don't want to do it until I get some fluid in there. Data streams. So ThinkTool's broken up the data list into multiple data lists. So here's another feature I'm going to show you that Snap-on doesn't have. Pressure. Something as silly as that. Well, we'll wait for the fluid. So the customer's adding fluid and it went from empty to low warning and then okay. So we're going to go to bidirectionally try to control that pump. Actuation test. Reductant system. Reductant pump. Should ask me if I want data at the same time. Oh, it's already got it. So we're going to watch the reductant pressure. It's not building pressure. So do we have a failed pump? Can't hear it running over the compressor or the furnace running in the shop. So my bad. It was in actuator tests in the Snap-on scan tool. I tried it with the Think tool and the pump would make a bump noise and not run. So I found it in the output controls. And when I command it on in the silent shop, you can hear it faintly running. And at one point it came up to 2.3 psi. I wonder if I tap the bottom of the particulate tank. But this only commands it on for 20 seconds. So this thing's going to need a pump again. So I was chastising Snap-on for not having the capability when it was user error on my part. Regardless, looking at the troublemaker chart for that P20E8, it suggests that a leak in the system, like if the nozzle is injecting fluid, it says to remove the nozzle, but that's not 5 minutes. And honestly, this is the first time I've done bidirectional control of the pump. And I'm not sure how noticeable it is when it's running. It's dead quiet in my shop right now. Where is the pump? Reductant heater, reductant pump. It says can be activated for 20 seconds and will be disabled. Then it will get disabled for 10 seconds. So this brings up a data list. And I noticed that the desired pump speed and actual pump speed is not live. Only the PSI is live. Reductant system pressure. It's supposed to be 65 to 80 pounds pressure. I got 0. So I'm going to command it on. I heard it run, and then it seemed to stop. But it's very faint. I'm going to set the microphone over by the truck. Ooh, that probably hurt. So I got the microphone set by the hoist arm. And I'm gonna command it on. It seems to run for 10 seconds or 15 seconds and then stop. I'm going to talk to a diesel specialist who works on these things and ask him how noticeable it is when that pump runs. I would expect it to be quite noticeable, or more noticeable than that. This pump was changed in December of 22, I believe, if I look at my notes. I notice with this scan tool, when I command the pump on, you can see the frames of data being recorded here. But when I command it on, I'm going to release control. When I command it on, the data refresh seems to stop. Watch this number down here. So I don't know if the scanner is working properly. See, it's blocked now. It's not refreshing. And then it starts again. I'm going to build a custom data list. Deselect all. I'm sure that this doesn't work. List view. PSI is over on the left-hand side now. So the refresh rate is much quicker now because I got a smaller data list. But it still stops refreshing. I can hear the pump running faintly, but it only runs for a few seconds. So I'm going to talk to a tech. So I decided to boot up my laptop and connect to GM SPS to see if there's any updates for this truck. I still believe we need a DEF pump. I wonder what kind of drama we're going to get into. Why is this? Well, I got connected here. I had to buy a subscription for $59. So I appear to be in an endless boot loop here. I don't know what's going on. Let's see if there's anything running in the background. No. Launch TLC with administrative privileges. Well, I click launch. It loads the splash screen. Oh, hang on. Something down here. So now I tried to load it twice. Now it's going to crash. Well, it seems to be installing now, but there's periods of time when the screen just looks like nothing's happening. And if you... Oh, error again. Always some kind of drama with this software. And then I'll reboot the laptop and it'll tell me there's a Windows update that'll take 2 hours to do. I just noticed this little slide here, launched with administrative privileges. This is new since the last time I've logged into SPS, which was about 2 months ago. So we're trying this again. Again, it goes through periods of inactivity where it looks like nothing's happening, but you have to be patient. Restarting, installing TechLight Update Manager. I don't dare reboot the laptop because it'll likely want to do Windows updates or some stupid thing. So I had to reboot the laptop. I had to log back into SPS. I had to wait for a verification code again, re-log in, reload the software. And this is like attempt 5 now. And it seems to be working. Wow. There's always some kind of drama. Failed to download. Oh, brother. Native libraries failed to download. And of course, being Sunday, there's no tech support. Every time I go to use this service programming stuff, you wonder why nobody wants to use OE software. I don't want to jinx it, but it seems to be working. So a mere hour and a half later, and now we have to update the VCI. Do not unplug the device from the PC or remove the power from the device during the update process. Okay. Well, this is painful. Estimated time remaining 21 minutes. One way to increase the billable hours, thanks GM. So we're finally into SPS. Loaded the vehicle. Auto detect new vehicle, manually enter vehicle, reprogram. Next. I wish this was like Chrysler software, YTech, where it actually shows you what modules need updating. So we're going to check the K20 program engine control module to see if it needs to be updated. At one time you used to be able to put the VIN number in and check calibration. Yeah, it's going to take one of my VIN slots. I'll follow all control module setup outlined. Why is my camera doing this funky stuff with this laptop? Ignition is already on. I got a battery charger on it. Why does it say prepare ECM for removal? I just wanted to update. Engine ECM. Oh, because I clicked prepare module for renewal. Got to use this one more than once every 3 months. And every vehicle is slightly different. So how do I know if there's an updated software for it? I'm going to look around. I think I need to go into engine and transmission programming. Next. This should tell me if there's an update for it. That was the wrong selection. Incorrect selection may cause vehicle functionality and or safety concerns. If the correct selection is unavailable, please contact Support Center. Latest mainstream calibration. Select this calibration and address customer complaint of poor AC performance at idle. Let me read this. So this does mention the new software to enhance diagnostics for P20 Edward. So we're going to go ahead and reflash this. Yeah, let's see. Only takes a couple of seconds to download the software, but this is when it's critical that you have a battery charger on it. Does this give us battery voltage on here? No, it does not. We'll pick up when we get to the end of this programming event. Writing to ECU. Estimated time, 15 seconds. Oh, that's minutes. Minutes and seconds. It's counting down pretty quick though. Well, it seems to have done it. Now, I don't know if there's any setup required, like a crankshaft variation learn or anything like that. It didn't mention anything about it. Normally it has it in setup. Oh, here's setup. Let's see what we got in setup. Need to do more of these more often, not just once every couple of months. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Well, we're going to start it and run it and see what happens. Well, I got all of the warning lights off on the dash, obviously updating the software. But I'm going to download or pay for access to GM MDS2, which is, I don't have access to it. I just bought service programming. You can buy it separately. So I'm going to pay for access to GM MDS2 and see how that functions on this thing. We already set up the hardware for it. Wow, 3 days, $84. What happened to $20? GM's got to make their profit margins. Oh well, we'll pay for this and see what happens. Well, that's interesting. Deliverable Honda, deliverable Saab, deliverable Navistar, medium truck, data bus diagnostic tool, and Acura. Are they all using the same or similar software? That's very interesting, Honda and Acura. This says I'm downloading MDS2 now. So this is the MDS2 screen. Going to module diagnostics. Actually, I should go back. Vehicle diagnostics. Let's go vehicle DTC information. This is like, imagine like a network scan. Come on, GM, you don't know whether it's got inflatable restraint, sensing and diagnostic version. Like, what the heck one do I know? How do I know? Yeah, okay, not equipped. I'm not going to go start looking at RPO codes for the airbag system. Doesn't have memory seats. You know, you would think they would know what the truck was built with, considering. So this shows you what pin it's using at the DLC. So you got one code in the BCM, 3 codes in the electronic brake control assembly. Well, let's clear the DTCs. You got to pick which one? Oh, I guess add all. And then say OK. Must be in service mode. That means key on, engine off. Just say key on, engine off. Let's go back. Now we gotta listen to my furnace. Vehicle. Let's go back again. No. Module diagnostics. Engine control module. Control functions, configuration reset. EPF regen. Reductant system. Now I'm going to turn my furnace off. So here's the reductant system pump. We don't get to watch data. I would hope so. What's the point of doing this if you can't see it? Commanded state. Here's the pressure and kPa. Look at that, it's working. Exactly what they said, 20 seconds. I wonder if I could change the units. What did it hit? I gotta look it up. So it hit 590, 600 kPa. And this shows the pump speed in RPM. And I can hear it running. Now, unless it was frozen. You guys remember, it's been in the shop now for about 3 hours. Is it that the snap-on scan tool didn't work? Or was the pump frozen? Too many variables. I can hear the pump running now. .600 divided by 15, roughly. So 600 kilopascals is 87 psi. See if the microphone picks up the sound of this pump running. Well, let's do a particulate filter regen and see if it'll run it and pass it. So I'm going to do a forced regen, but I got to park the vehicle outside because I don't want to start my shop on fire. The exhaust is pointing at the wall. And that means I got to move my laptop, so I got to get set up for this. So we're going to start a regen. A bunch of warnings. I'm parked outside. Service regeneration on. It's running the engine at 2000 RPM. I'm sure I don't have to open the hood today. It's near freezing. Let's let it run through this. I don't know how long it's going to take. Oh, it sounds like a Learjet taking off. I was looking for the reductant pressure. I don't know how long that... Is it finished already? It's only been like 3 minutes. Well, that was rather non-dramatic. Didn't take very long if it did it. So there's an able regen and a forced regen, a service regen, which I just did. Let's see if there's any code set. Diagnostic trouble codes. No warning lights on. No DTC stored. Well, it bugs me that the Snap-on scan tool and the Think tool tried to run the pump, but it didn't run. Now, was it frozen and it thawed out in the length of time it took me to update software and download software and reconnect to SPS and reconnect to SPS? Or is it the fact that the scan tool didn't work? I tend to believe that the pump might have been frozen. I'm going to bring the truck back in and try again with the Snap-on scanner. So we're back in the bidirectional control on the Snap-on scanner, and we're going to command the pump on. So the OEM software showed the pump RPM and the pump pressure and the fact that the pump was running. Pump RPM. Oh, that's desired reductant speed pump. So we'll watch this one. That's commanded on. So there's a glitch in the software. It doesn't. The scanner freezes when I'm doing this. Note the refresh rate on the data parameter down here is not changing. And then when it stopped running, it showed the pressure. But it hit 86 psi that time. So there's a glitch in the scanner. But it didn't do that last time. There's definitely a glitch in the scan tool. The scan data freezes until it finishes it. There it is. But I didn't have that before. Let's try with the Think tool. One thing I do like about the top-down the Think tool is the topology map. So I'm going to do a network scan just for the shits and giggles. Shows one code in it. Well, we'll pick up when we get to the end of this. So let's see what code is it. NOx sensor circuit high. He had that code before. So that's probably needs a NOx sensor. Circuit high voltage. And I'm sure that's the same code in the BCM. Yeah. So we're not out of the woods yet, but let's go into the ECM and actuation test and a reductant system and reductant pump. Okay. Isn't it fun when you have to learn how to use your scan tools and at the same time diagnose something? So this picks the data parameters for us. And on. This doesn't work at all. It just goes zit. I don't know if the camera's picking up or the microphone's picking up the sound, but when I hit the button, the pump just goes zit. And there's no pressure, no RPM. So how the hell are you supposed to diagnose a vehicle with hardware that doesn't function properly? Damn. This is not a cheap scan tool, and neither is the Snap-on scan tool. But it doesn't work. As you can see, it doesn't work. The OE software worked flawlessly. But we do have another problem with a fault code related to read fault code, DTC display. P20E8 NOx sensor. Well, we'll get a NOx sensor for it. I'm sure that's what it is. I'm going to lift it up and have a look at it visually, make sure there's nothing physically wrong with it, but I doubt it. That's it for now. I'm going to give it back to him like this for now. So I decided to look at this troubleshooting chart for the 2203 code NOx sensor 1 circuit high voltage. Basically, it says these are smart sensors. And there are two of them, one placed upstream of the selector reduction catalyst. Measure inlet NOx concentration, one placed downstream. They are connected with the control module via CAN, and all the information to exchange through it. It's a smart device. All the electrical monitoring is performed inside the sensor, and only the results are sent to the ECM. Each NOx sensor contains a sensing cell, a pumping cell, a heater, a sample exhaust gas pass-through, a diffusion gap between the sensor cell and the pumping cell, yada, 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 yada. So, smart NOx sensor consists of two components, a NOx module and a NOx sensor element that are serviced as a unit. A circuit or performance condition with a NOx sensor is detected by the NOx sensor module. The smart NOx sensor module communicates the condition to the ECM over the serial data line. The ECM sets a DTC when a serial data message is received from the NOx sensor module. So I scrolled down and read the enable criteria. Verify. If the DTC is not set, verify 2203 is set. If any of the DTCs are set, replace the bank one, the B195A nitrogen oxide sensor 1. So if you got a code, change the sensor, because it's a smart sensor and all the electronics in it, and it communicates across a serial data wire. I want to see the circuit. I'm curious about how the circuit is designed. Well, sometimes you do catch a break. That is the sensor in question right there on the top of the engine. And there is the NOx sensor module right there as it says it's part of it. I don't imagine that's going to be too cheap. But we're going to have to find out. At least we don't have to lift it up. Good thing I looked at the troubleshooting chart before I raised it to look at the exhaust system.